Hi everyone, how are you doing today? I hope you're having a good day and enjoying life. Hey, looks like Aptera is continuing to do more interviews, and this next one is very long. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and show. Well, you know what? Let's just go ahead and get into this first. Welcome back to my channel. We thank you so much for joining Free Power. We're going to look at another interview by Chris Anthony. It's like he's doing a bunch of interviews right now. And so this one is really long. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to divide this up into two pieces and let you go ahead and watch the first one now, and then I'll put the next one out later. All right, let's go ahead and check this out.
Welcome to a new episode of the Opening Bid Unfiltered podcast. I'm Yahoo Finance Executive Editor Brian Sazi. Now, some of you know me as a car fan. Not too long ago, I think it was a couple months ago on the episode, we talked to CrowdStrike founder George Kurtz. He just bought a stake into the Mercedes F1 team. So I love talking cars. I can do it all day. So I'm going to continue that theme. I'm going to welcome on right now the co-founder and CEO of Aptera Motors, Chris Anthony. Chris, good to see you. I was going to start this by saying, what do you do? Tell me about the company. But you're actually sitting, in a factory right now?
This is actually our factory here in Carlsbad, California. I'm on our initial production line here where our first vehicles are about to come off the line.
Tell us a little bit about the vehicle right behind you right now.
This vehicle behind me is really designed for efficiency first. What most people don't realize is when you're driving down the freeway at highway speeds in a typical sedan or SUV, you're burning about 70% of your fuel just pushing air out of the way. So if you can make your vehicle more aerodynamic, you're going to get a lot better fuel efficiency. And we designed something that's not just a little fuel efficient, 100 miles per gallon, 200 miles per gallon. Our vehicle's about 350 miles per gallon equivalent. So super efficient first, gives you great attributes like quick charging and a solar capability that can charge just from the sun to cover most of your daily driving needs.
Okay, so for those not familiar with your story, I followed it to the extent I could up until this point and getting to talk with you, but you make solar powered cars.
Yeah, the 700 watts of solar that's integrated into our body panels can get you about 40 miles of free driving a day. In Southern California, it's over 10,000 miles a year of free driving. So for most people, for the average driver, just leave the Aptera outside, the sun trickle charges your battery pack, and you can just hop in and drive it every day. It still is an EV, so you can still go 400 miles in one direction. You can go see grandma. You can charge at the Tesla supercharging station, all those things you would do in an EV. But at its heart, it's a very efficient vehicle that's solar powered.
I want to get into the technicals of all this, but I have to ask, I imagine you don't wake up one day and say, I want to start a solar powered car company. How did this all come about?
My friend Steve Fambro, he was in the biotech industry. He was really frustrated with the commutes here in Southern California and why he couldn't get a really efficient vehicle. You look at things on the road today and you see like a VW Beetle and you're like, well, it's curvy and you would think it's aerodynamic, but it only gets 40 miles per gallon. You're like, well, why is that? Well, things that look aerodynamic often aren't that aerodynamic. And lots of vehicles are really, really heavy and just don't focus on rolling efficiencies and drivetrain efficiencies that we've really focused on. So it was really an aspiration to look at first principles engineering to solve how do you make the most efficient transportation. And that's what he and I did. We started to use advanced composites, lightweight structures, tuning the drivetrain, pumping electrons is much more efficient than burning petroleum products. So when you put all that together and you get something that's 350 miles per gallon, it drastically changes, what transportation can look like.
I hope I have these notes right, but did you spend a good chunk of your career in boats?
Yeah, I had a boat company making wakeboard boats and then fishing boats, and that gave me a background in the composite technologies to make really lightweight structures. The great thing about our fishing boats is you could use a really small motor and put it on a single axle trailer. You move that into the transportation space, and now you're making a vehicle that weighs about half of what a typical EV would weigh. Our production vehicle that gets 400 miles range weighs about 2,200 pounds.
I don't know if you've had any moment. I don't know if you have, because you're clearly up around the clock building these vehicles. But Is there anything in your childhood that would suggest you'd be doing this right now?
I love to take apart stuff when I was younger. I ran a couple arcades when I was only 10 and 11 years old. I was taking apart pinball machines and arcade machines and doing all kinds of interesting gadgety stuff as I got older. And then I got into wrapping my own pole vault poles in college to compete with, and then on to boating and auto manufacturing and the most efficient vehicle ever seen.
Talk to me a little bit about this process that's right behind you. How do you go about setting up a production process for a solar powered vehicle?
It's really rethinking what the automotive industry has done for the past, 6 decades or so is, big stamping equipment, large robots to position parts, welding, dip tanks for paint. It all seemed kind of terribly archaic to us. And when we started to design the most efficient vehicle ever, we also wanted to manufacture it in the most efficient way. So we really looked at how do you modularize the vehicle? How do you break it down into sub-assemblies? How do you limit the amount of parts for the total assembly? Our body structure only contains 6 parts. They're all human positionable. The heaviest part is around 75 pounds. So 2 people can lift up the tub, the base of the vehicle, put it in a fixture, put 2 sides on, a top, 2 support brackets, and that's the whole body structure for the vehicle. And when we last tested that body structure, it had the highest roof crush strength of any passenger car on the road. So even though you're building in a very efficient way, it doesn't mean it can't be really, really strong and really, really capable and reduce the amount of time it takes to build. Right here, there's 14 stations on our assembly line. 136 sub-assemblies come together to make the whole Aptera. So about 10 parts per station. 2 operators get 12 minutes to put those 10 parts in. So every 12 minutes, an Aptera comes off the assembly line. That'll give us about 40 vehicles a day here in sunny San Diego, California, which is about 10,000 vehicles a year. And if we start a second shift, that's 20,000 vehicles a year out of this facility here in San Diego.
That is mind-blowing stuff, Chris. If I saw one of these driving down the road, even if you were out there just testing, I would realize immediately this is not a normal car. This is not an SUV. It looks different. Like, take us through the design. Why did you draw it up to look like this, and why was that so important?
The cambered body really is unique looking. It looks much more like a fish than a box when it's driving down the road. And it really is that we take the high pressure zone that's in front of the vehicle. Most vehicles are plowing down the freeway. There's a big high pressure zone in front of the nose. It doesn't really go anywhere, so it creates a lot of drag. We have a really pointy nose, and we actually suck that high pressure zone from the front of the vehicle to the tail. Much like an airplane wing creates lift, we create suction as it goes to the tail, and it actually neutralizes the main body of the vehicle to almost no aerodynamic drag. All of the drag from our vehicle comes from the tires having to touch the ground. You can't really do anything about that. We haven't invented hover technology yet. But this vehicle is so efficient that the side view mirrors on most pickup trucks actually have more aerodynamic drag in total than the whole Aptera. If you're driving down the freeway and you stick 2 hands out of your window, the pressure you feel on your 2 hands is about the total pressure that the Aptera feels when it's driving at highway speed. So it's just a different way to look at transportation.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that video. I did. It looks like they're still getting a lot of good information out there. And Chris Anthony, he's doing a really good job. Of course, the most important question is, how do you feel about everything that they're doing now? They're stepping their game up, and it looks like they're getting more and more information out there. So anyway, if you're new here, don't forget to hit the like, ring the bell, subscribe, and you'll catch all my videos. So what I want to do is I just want to go ahead and we will see you next time. The next video drop soon. So y'all take care. We'll talk to you later. All right. Bye-bye.